Welcome, everyone, to some more Link to the Past League Season 5 playoffs. This is not casual boots that shows in the box here, but we'll get that fixed. This is, in fact, Game 4, and we're going to get some map compass shuffle with hard mode. We have Structural Mike versus Jay Meisher. Structural Mike and the last Locationeers, the higher seed, but they're on the ropes right now. They have a must-win situation to get this to a Game 5. Jay Meisher, of course, hoping to end this right here, right now. My name is Tracy, and with me today is Homemade Beer. How you doing, Beer?
Hello, Tracy. I'm doing well. How are you today?
Doing fantastic. Looking forward to this race. We'll see if Mike can pull it off, or if Jay Meisher can finish the upset here.
Yeah. As you said, calling it the upset, then being the higher seed going into the playoff first round. I think they were second in the conference to the Pugs in the last Locationeers, that is.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean, they were both in that division. It was a rough division, so yeah, finishing second, pretty good. Here we go.
And we're off.
And we're getting immediate diversion with Mike deciding to start at Sanctuary. Get some bombs for his trouble. Jay Meisher got some rupees. Looks like he wants to do an Uncle start. And it looks like we have Christmas hat Link.
yeah, holiday Link, right?
Yeah, it's the time of year for it. Get that tree pull from Jay Meisher. Oh,
that's nice.
Well, that's money. That's all the early money you need. Not, of course, Zor may or may not come into play early, but certainly we won't have to worry about bottle vendor on Jay Meisher's side.
Yeah, and an early lamp.
Lamp, okay.
Nice. So that actually puts 4 out of 5. No, is it 5 out of 6 checks in Eastern? 4 out of 5. I don't know. I can't count. 4 out of 5 checks in Eastern are in Logic.
Yeah, well, with these maps. Yeah, with these maps and compasses being shuffled, we got 2 extra items in every dungeon. Nice magic refill for Mike over in the Lost Woods.
Yeah, and I actually kind of like an early Eastern play in this mode. It's not something I would say do every time, but just as a thought of like if you're not sure how you you might want to route differently versus someone, or you got a bunch of Sphere 1 checks over there. You got Saha's Closet. Get some bombs early and rush it.
Yeah, and to answer chat, there are 3 locations where the lamp can spawn in vanilla. You can get it if you open up the Uncle chest in the when you wake up. It's there. Zelda Cell is typically where you pick it up in NMG. The game really wants you to have a lamp in there.
Yeah.
It also has that spot if you somehow, for some reason, don't open up that chest immediately and don't make it all the way to the Uncle spot. So.
Yeah, I think doesn't Zelda get mad at you if you try to go to this?
Yeah, she won't. Yeah, she won't help you push the wall if you don't have a lamp.
Yeah. It's dark. We can't do this. You don't know your dark rooms.
So yeah, something like that.
We do have 2
maybe
maps.
She just doesn't help. We do notice this is hard mode, so both runners skipping that heart piece, which makes a lot of sense because we're gonna get 13 or 14 hearts at the end, regardless of whether we skip that heart piece, because they'll all turn into green 20s after a while. So no point in going out of your way to pick up anything that's a heart.
Yeah. This is the old school hard mode with, it's basically 4 swords are placed, 3 shields are placed, all the mail upgrades are placed, what else? And 2 bows are placed, but the max you're allowed to have of any one of those is 0 mail upgrades, 3 sword upgrades, and 1 bow, and 2 shields.
Yeah, all the heart pieces, heart containers also placed, but with the exception of Sank Heart, which is its own thing, everything else turns into a green 20 once you get to your full heart pieces and your full heart containers. So, it's one of the criticisms I have about this mode is that you'll always end up with 13 or 14 hearts, and a player that's maybe a little bit weaker than maybe you would normally pick up extra heart pieces and heart containers is more incentivized to skip them. So the stronger player that would have already done that maybe gets a little bit less of an advantage. Now, granted, these players are good enough; they probably would have skipped them anyway, so probably even out there. But in general, that it tends to be the case.
Yeah, you can definitely save the amount of time. It's about half a second every chest or every item pickup that you skip. So it adds up, definitely.
Yeah, fire rod in the bombable hut. In the chicken hut, which is bombable, so I'm not completely wrong. But we have both our fire sources located less than 4 minutes in. Mike, having not gone over to Uncle, may never pick up that lamp, depending on whether he ever goes there. May not need to. So it could give Jamie Meisher a bit of a small advantage with that lamp. It's not needed nor required, except logically, but it does make dark rooms a lot easier.
Yeah, so what are we looking at here? We have the Moon Pearl. We don't have much else. I guess South Shore seems like the most common next play in a mode like this.
Yep. Yeah, a little advantage to Mike there, because he'll be able to use that fire rod for the mini mold worms, at least to start out the room. Both have plenty of bombs, so they'll both be able to do it without too much trouble. Actually, really, in the end, getting that first mold worm is usually the hardest thing to do. And so you just, even if you're Jay Meisher, you probably fire a fire rod shot to get that one mini mold worm, and then you just fire bomb. So shouldn't be too much of a difference there.
Yeah, that one definitely likes to troll. And the other thing too with this layout items we currently have, there's a chance that the front of escape is fully in logic, but it depends on where that small key shows up.
Yep. I mean,
and without the map there, that's
with both that fire rod and that lamp, that dark cross item is in logic regardless. So, of course, it could be a map. I don't expect any runner to say, "Oh, let's just go to dark cross," because it's in logic. Because if it's the map, it's a complete waste of time.
Except the maps are shuffled, so
maps are shuffled, so it won't.
Yeah,
it could still be a map.
It could still be the map.
It could be the map. But you're right. With the maps and compass shuffle, that's not really a concern. If it's a small key, it's fine because you just keep going all the way to the back because we don't have gloves yet.
Yep, exactly. Oh, and some more money.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's almost Zora money, not the Zoras in logic yet. And Mike decides, I don't know if he was going to do this anyway. Some runners will choose to go to Agina, specifically if they pick up that item. They'll just keep going to the left there. We'll see if Jay Meisher follows.
Testing out the commands here, make sure everything's set up correctly.
Let's see if Agina has anything for us today.
Ooh,
he sure does. That's really interesting. Jay Meisher not going to get that cane right away. Now, as long as he goes to the mire area with a mirror.
Right, I was just thinking that.
Fine.
Yeah. It'd be kind of funny, you know, you go in and you're like, oh, I can't do mire without a cane, and then you mirror, get everything else, and you're like, I can do mire now with the cane.
I mean, there's some little places where that cane can help you out. Now, of course, Ice Palace, but a lot of runners will go and check the mire area before going to Ice Palace, especially if they don't have a cane.
Yeah, and we find out the Moldorms are in the super pack here, so I think Jay Meisher, if he was waiting for it, could have predicted that magic to drop potentially and tried to grab it, but instead just keeps going on. That's fine as well.
Yeah, and Mike's going to make use of that Samaria for the mini Moldworms. That's a fun item to use for them.
Yeah. I kind of missed what was in the cave. Not very much, right?
We'll see it on Mike's side. Compass.
And compass.
Heart container. Arrows. Arrows. Yeah, not very much.
There we go.
Not even one of the more useful compasses, because Swamp Palace is pretty easy to count. I always like to joke that if you're going to find a compass, get the compass to Ice Palace, because no one can count Ice Palace properly.
Yeah. Oh,
but the swamp compass is really... Swamp is really easy to count, because like either you've done left side or you haven't, and usually you know whether you've done it or not.
That crab was trolling Mike a bit, but made it through for the first round. And Jay Meisher has a pretty easy time walking through here, so does a good job avoiding all those crabs. Yeah. And we got another bottle.
Wow, is that our third bottle?
I think so, yeah. We had 2 in Kakariko, and here we are. Oh!
Okay. Careful. Okay, we're fine.
Yeah, this is fine. All right. So, yeah, Sahas Relay Eastern, it looks like, is the play.
Yeah, that makes sense. We'll see if Jay Meisher decides to do anything with the escape.
Yeah, I wonder if Mike does that before Saha Eastern.
Okay. Lake Hylia Island with nothing. Yeah, Mike in particular, since he didn't do the uncle stuff, and I mean we've got a Kata Samari and plenty of magic for the cane use. It might be not as good with the fire rod, but Kata Samari is a really nice item for the escape if you don't have like any of the traditional like a sword or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Because it just doesn't use a lot of magic. So Mike's just, gonna get this lamp, so he's gonna be happy. Like he's already probably thinking in terms of doing Dark Cross into the back, if he gets the small key. But now it's like, well, now he'll get the lamp, and it's like, well, now I definitely do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're almost like forced into it in a way. And then if it is a small key, you're kind of forced to keep going, even though you definitely want to do that with a glove. It's a little bit faster, but maybe the glove's back there. Who knows?
Also, to your point about going over to Eastern, the Saha check is more valuable because you get the green pendant information. We find out green pendant is at pod today.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I actually wasn't even thinking about right now. So yeah, that's definitely helpful. Because sometimes in these seeds, this seed doesn't feel like it's going to be one of those, but every once in a while you get a seed where you just end up with a 50-50 of I'm in go mode, but I need to beat one of two dungeons. You don't know which one, so you just go try and do the faster one first, and it's never that one.
Oh, of course not. Why would they let us do the fast dungeon?
Okay, so new checks on both sides here. Just $5, so the rest is not in logic unless the small key shows up in Dark Cross.
Right.
Or a glove shows up. I'm sure Mike is keeping track of that in the back of his mind as well while he does these checks.
We're about to see our first Eastern Palace check.
Oh,
there's our glove.
Yeah. So that gives us 2 checks on Death Mountain and guarantees all of escape is in logic for Jamie, sure.
At this point, Mike is maybe even better off if he doesn't get that small key.
Yeah.
That would force him over to Eastern and make him get that glove. Okay, so why is it not considered in logic in the front of escape? So everything, when you think about key logic, you always have to ask yourself the question. Like the simple answer to key logic is, can I open 2 different doors? And if the answer is yes, then neither door being opened is in logic. So the bottom line is you could use the keys in a bad way to make it so you can't go to these checks at all, unless you have that small key. And therefore, this is not in logic because of that. Like these 2 checks, not even the glove doesn't actually put those 2 checks in logic, because you could still use your keys badly. You still do them, because you're going to get the key at some point in the back. In this case it is in logic because keys are not shuffled, but if keys were shuffled, it wouldn't be. So yeah, so the glove then allows you guaranteed access to the small key, and therefore puts those in logic that way. But yeah, that's the bottom line. You always want to think about, can I do multiple things with one key? If the answer is yes, those things are not in logic. It's the simplest answer. Now, when you get to like Ice Palace key logic,
yeah,
it's a lot more complicated.
That one's just special.
It is special. Okay, so is Mike gonna get a key here? Yes.
It's almost bad for him if he does, right? Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So that's fine. Now I think he's forced to Eastern. He'll get that glove. I think that'll be really good. And Jay Misher may never get to the front of escape, which would be good for him.
Yeah, there was nothing there. I think likely he'll do Dark Cross from the back here after this, unless he finds like a hammer in the next chest, or a bow.
Yeah, nice vanilla big key in Eastern.
Yeah, always.
No one's skipping that chest today.
Yeah, and then you always find out it's a pendant later anyway, but you had to dip it, so it's fine. 10 arrows, that's bow adjacent.
Yeah, and Eastern, because it has 0 small keys, always guaranteed to. A lot of these dungeons, you're guaranteed to have an item on the boss, but Eastern with 0 chest small keys, guaranteed to have an item on the boss. Some of the other dungeons allow the small key to be on the boss, so it's not guaranteed, but most of them are going to have boss items.
Yeah, so this seems very likely now that Hammer is probably going to show up here in a bit, because we're still missing a lot for Aga, or another glove, right? Like, open up Dark World. We got to open up something soon.
mirror
Funny.
or
Oh, I
hookshot
guess
for East at that
Zora.
mountain.
Yeah, Zora's in logic too. That's cool.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's nothing in the back of Escape there. Fortunately, our runners have money, so it's
Yeah.
not an issue. But yeah, we're at 2 swords or a sword and a cape away from Aga Axis, so seems unlikely that that's going to be the answer. And just like you thought, Jay Meisher is going to do Dark Cross from the backside. I imagine that he'll do the front of Escape after this because Dark Cross is nothing.
Yeah, because right now he's down to rescue Old Man for 2 checks that take a million years. Probably doing just the Old Man is a choice that some people make because they want to have the mirror or hookshot before they do the other
And then
stuff
you
on
get
the mountain.
and you get the free save and quit, which is nice.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can just get back there pretty quickly. But the kind of scary part for everyone now is just that Zora option. It's like, well, crap, like that's so out of the way, but it is in logic.
Yep. Remind me who did Agena.
Mike did and found Samaria there.
Right. And so it's actually important. So it wouldn't be a terrible thing if Jay Meisher decided to do that before Aga, since it is going to be eventually required. It looks like we're going to do some mountain climbing first.
Yeah, this totally makes sense as well. All right. Is that the glove for Mike?
Yep. We should have it. Yeah, he has it by now. I think it was the first chest, so yeah.
Oh, it was the first chest. Gotcha.
Because that was a compass for Eastern Palace, and we can see the HUD that tells us we have 2 out of 6 items. Eastern, another somewhat more useless compass than others.
Yeah. I believe that was the map chest in Eastern too. So close.
Kind of French vanilla-y.
Yeah.
Let's see what the old man has for us. He has the
Oh,
mitts.
glove. Yay.
So we have really awful Darkworld axes.
Yeah, exactly.
We could go into Thieves Town and we can do most of it, but we can't kill blind because we have no weapons. Actually, Mike could kill blind with that Cane of Samaria because that's always fun to do a Cane of Samaria blind.
I've definitely played seeds inverted or some other type where the first sword in order, like an Invrojo seed, where the first sword that you need to get is by using Samaria to kill blind, and then now you can beat Aga and go to the light world. So, luckily this isn't inverted, so the probability of that happening is extremely low.
Okay, so there's some rupees in up there, so I think we're gonna go dark. We're gonna go Dark World. We'll see if what Jay Meisher does in terms of Thieves Town. Probably just does the first 4.
Yeah, that'd be a really tough call to make of going to the back. But we do know in the back the only thing that we could have in the big chest that would make it not required technically would be the small key, right? To not find an item there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that made sense. The words didn't come out very smoothly though. Point is, maps and compasses are shuffled, right?
Right. So chances are, yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, and it's always the funny thing that I find about Thieves Town is small key in big chest means none of the back is in logic, except I think Zelda Cell.
Right.
But it means you don't have to worry about the item, which gives you more incentive to finish it. Now, Jay Meisher, unless he runs into a sword somewhere here, or the hammer, or I guess Cane of Burna, won't even have the option to kill blind, so can't finish it no matter what.
Yeah, we did get a map check from him. He has a couple of these maps, and we saw that Ice is a regular crystal, Misery Mire is a regular pendant, and Turtle Rock is a red crystal today. So we will have to find an Ice Rod.
Yeah, and we're gonna get those first checks from Thieves Town. We get the big key, because that has to show up in the first 4.
All right, yeah. So this will be guaranteed 3 items of something. Well, no, because this
could be a small key.
Yeah.
You read. Of course, there's a compass. You really don't want to see the small key.
Yeah.
Is that just puts everything in logic and makes it even more likely you'll orphan the big chest. And of course, like I said, we can't actually finish the dungeon.
Oh, we're getting an Aga check here. I like this. There's like a few different times to do this, and this is the I'm going to the mountain, I'm checking Aga. This is my least favorite. Either do it at the very beginning, when you're already doing things like tree pulls and bush crab and crab checks, or do it when you get boots, because it's pretty close to the other boots checks.
But
Yeah.
like this works too. So I imagine Mike is gonna climb up the mountain, get his mitts. Jay Meisher is done in Thieves Town. Looks like nothing a note there.
Yeah, he got like a heart and something, so he's up to what 9 hearts already. It's kind of like Mike
And
shouldn't
we're
be that
gonna
far behind on hearts. He hasn't dodged his like any checks really that Jay Meisher hasn't also done, and they both skipped all the
yeah.
heart
There,
pieces
there
they
was
made.
I think we saw one heart piece. They were both able to skip. But yeah, the we're not gonna get any mail upgrades. So having extra hearts when you don't have any reasonable weapons to defend yourself. You know, we have Fire Rod, we have Kanan and Jay Meisher without that Kana Samaria, which really doesn't do much anyway. All our offense is limited. We have no repeatable offense right now, so there's a heart piece, but I don't think it gave him a heart. So
Yeah, when you don't have any weapons early in the Dark World, and you know it's hard mode, so it's green mail, like, you don't mind having a couple extra hearts in general.
okay, we'll see if Jay Meisher chooses to pick the Smith up after he does Dig Game. Pretty reasonable to do that at this point, because there's a good chance you're going to come back there anyway. You have a Fire Rod, so you go into Skullwoods, and in case you find the sword there, you can, maybe just do Skullwoods right away.
Yeah, and the way that Jay Meisher routed his opening here in Dark World, he doesn't have a way to get to Pod, so he might go pick up the Smith on the way, and if he doesn't find Flippers or Hammer while he's walking over in that direction, save and quit, and then just turn the Smith in, and then come back and finish up, like you said, Skullwoods. And there's got to be something though. No, I guess Sora could still be the only thing, but
Sora could still have our weapon.
Yeah. Mike
we
can
could
do
get a
good
hook.
and still a fake flipper, by the way.
It could be a hook shot that shows up to open up
Oh, yeah.
things. It would be certainly interesting. A mirror would get us to another not beatable dungeon in Hera.
Oh, Mike's out of bombs.
Oh, that's a problem.
Interesting.
Well, there's a 50-50, there are two 50-50 bombs, one right outside this cave and one nearby. So I imagine he'll go for one of them. No, he's just gonna go for the one.
Yeah, there's another one at the
right
bottom
here.
left. Nope.
Yeah,
Oh,
there it is.
bad luck.
Nope.
Yeah, I think at this point you just walk to the bomb shop and check your red crystals and buy bombs. Because I probably wouldn't check those in this mode normally. But if I was out of bombs, I would use it as an excuse to buy bombs. Well, we're seeing Jay Meisher check those as well. So
Yeah,
I wonder if
think
he
I'd check
abandons
it.
the Smith here now. Oh, Thieves Town. Okay.
It all depends on what's in Hype Cave. Because Jay Meisher
Yeah.
has bombs. He's got 8. He's fine.
Yeah, and he found the flippers on Stumpy, so he has the opportunity now to burn the Smith. And trade the frog for a monkey in this situation.
Yeah, I think if he finds a bow here, I would like that play just fine. Oh, half magic's nice. See, and there it is.
There we go.
So now all of Pod is in play.
Yep.
And yeah, you will lose the monkey. The frog won't go into dungeons with you in this mode. But also, you can't have 2 followers at once. So as soon as you pick up Kiki in any mode, you would lose the frog.
Yeah, and
It's not that hard to get him. It's not that hard to get him back. And maybe you have a mirror the next time you do it. So certainly reasonable to abandon. The other choice you could do pyramid catfish, and come back for Pod later.
Yeah, and we're also seeing, just like to point this out because it's always fun when you see, careful, oh, okay, no, don't get stuck.
If he dies, you just go turn the Smith in.
Yeah. But we are in a situation now where the front of Ice Palace is available. That's cool.
That's always fun. Flippers and mitts and no hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the frog will turn into a monkey, assuming Jay Meisher makes it there, because there are a lot of enemies that do a lot of damage here. I fully expect him to make it, but, mistakes happen.
Mike getting the other half of the 50-50 luck there and getting 2 bombs instead of 0 this time. So enough to do Hype Cave, and there's probably at least 3 bombs in Hype Cave, so...
I mean, there's not a lot of places left where bombs are that important, and if you could choose to do Pod, and Pod is full of bombs.
Right, yep, that's a very good point. You never leave Pod with 0 bombs, so... hopefully. All right, here we go.
So
Pod
instead
is
of
now
the
entered.
yes, so we have like what 7 items in pod with the map compass. Yeah, because normally it'd be 5.
Yeah. Yep, that sounds right. And
Pod
that
kind
means
of
it guarantees
benefits.
one on the boss too.
Yeah, because can't have a small key on Helmosaur. So yeah, this is one of those. Ooh, hook shot.
Ooh,
Not even bow locked. So it would have been a good play even without the
yeah,
bow.
yeah. Now Ice Palace is even more available.
Yeah, having well, I would suspect Structural Mike is more likely to think of Ice Palace with that Cane of Samaria.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess Jamie Sure doesn't even have that Samaria, so.
Samaria is only logically required in a very rare situation. There are key layouts that put the small key on Cold Stare, which will typically require Cane of Samaria to finish. Whereas there's all sorts of logical implications with the hook shot in Ice Palace.
Yeah, all of them. Too many. There's so many that some are even broken in the engine.
Yeah. Yep.
Only
There's so many
cases,
that yeah, shoutouts to Koi and his cheat sheet for Ice Palace key logic.
I still have that printed on my desk, and I reference it
yep.
in every race.
I have it if I need it. And no hammer, so it's the fastest way to get through this. Just go ahead and take this Death Warp.
Yeah, no hammer, no mirror pod feels almost worse than no hammer pod sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, certainly, yeah. I would agree. No. I think I'd rather have the bow than the mirror, but not by much.
Yeah.
I definitely would rather have the mirror than the hammer if I'm, unless I absolutely want to full clear it.
Yeah, and so we know the 2 other chests in the front are going to be small keys, guaranteed. Finding that heart piece on the bridge, so Jamie sure can dodge all this and then end at the big chest here, and come back later if he needs to come back and beat the boss.
So he'll have to do a hammer jump to save the extra small key, which is fine.
Yeah, or just burn it and say, I don't care, I'm never coming back here anyway, it's a pendant.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if, he's got choices here. The hammer jump's not really difficult to do. Most runners can do it, but there's only a few, a flute. There's only a few specific situations where that hammer jump actually matters in a non-key sandy mode. This is one of the key layouts where you can save a ton of time checking that side by doing the hammer jump. And powder!
Yeah, and he does correctly identify there is a small key also in Armless Hellway here. But I don't think he found the big key, so this hammer jump might lose him time if the big key's in the top chest of Dark Maze. Unless he did and I didn't see it.
Yeah, he didn't. I would say it might be time neutral, so long as you get the hammer jump quickly, just because you're saving the time and not picking up the small keys, but now you're going to lose time by having to backtrack over to the big chest.
Yeah, and it's in the top chest too, so this is going to take a minute to do that and backtrack. But either way, he's not abandoning it. It's not enough time where you say, nope, I'm done. I don't care anymore.
And Mike making the same decision and abandoning his poor froggy friend for a monkey.
Poor friend. And it'll be the right one, because we now will have the flute.
We have a flute, we have a hook shot, we've got... Pod had things.
Absolutely. And the flute, we don't know if it's required yet. Probably it is, but definitely...
Yeah, I mean, Meyer... Looks like Meyer's a pendant, but we could need it with a mirror to get to desert.
Yeah,
if we don't get a book, so... even if it's not required, it's nice to have.
Oh yeah, flute is my favorite item in this game.
It would be really nice for Jay Meisher if he could get a mirror. Say in
Mire
Shed, so that he can get his Cane of Samaria. But that might be a lot to ask for. I imagine he'll flute straight to... Actually, you might do the mountain first. It is
yeah,
more
you
checks.
Can do everything on it.
We have the hookshot, so we can do hookshot cave. So we can do everything. We can scout the TR medallion, which is valuable information. I think the only thing we're leaving right now... Well, we can't get to Hera and we can't get to Spike Cave, but we can do all of East Death Mountain, both light and dark, except, like I said, enter into Turtle Rock. We don't
Yep.
really want to enter Turtle Rock yet because no ice rod.
Yeah.
And Jamie
Yeah.
sure, even if he gets the medallion, can't do Turtle Rock. Would need a hammer and a medallion to get in, and a Cane of Samaria to actually do anything. We know the Cane of Samaria is not showing up here.
Yeah, and that's another thing is if you dodge a Gina early, it's you can say, oh, I'll clean it up later, but as you proceed through the game
Mm-hmm.
and you're finding other progression, you can convince yourself like, oh, if something important was there, I would have needed it by now. I'm just never going to go back, and then you end up last locating it. So we'll have to see what his thoughts are on that as we get further into the seed.
Yeah, at least with the flute, it is pretty easy for him to get to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Even without a mirror, because you can just flute over there.
But yeah, some runners definitely like to be very thorough Sphere 1 players, and then other ones like to say, okay, I skipped this earlier, so I'm just going to not come back for it.
Yeah, the flute is an interesting item in that particular for that particular location. I know for me, if I get it before I get Dark World access, it gives me incentive to go over there. But this was after Dark World access, so I too would potentially be very late to that check.
Yeah, something if you hadn't found it earlier, you end up just writing it off. And so it's funny they still don't have a sword.
No, this is not swordless.
Yeah, or like any weapon.
That is a choice in this for game 4. They could have chosen swordless. In fact, I mean that would have been Jay Meeser's choice if it had been, but he chose Map Compass Shuffle.
Yeah, and Incoherent pointing out there is the mini Moldorm in the middle. Oh, how? Oh, he's just walking around. In the middle of the 3 in that room. If it drops an item, the ancilla value, that the item altitude.
Mm-hmm.
Is associated with your bomb damage direction. So
I
it's
mean,
screwed up.
Bottom line is, anytime you're doing a bomb jump, you got to be careful with what you pick up as far as drops go.
Yep.
And just like in Harapot, you can get screwed by drops here.
Yep, exactly. And Mike's following suit here, so I wouldn't consider him behind in this scenario. He's done more stuff. It just turns out that one of those things, Agina's Cave, is required, and the Front of Escape, which Jamie sure hasn't done, didn't have anything, I believe, like at all. It had like some money, maybe.
I don't even remember. It was like so forgettable.
Yeah, I think it was literally like 25 rupees and like something else.
Yep, pretty much.
It's interesting both runners putting off Skullwoods without a sword here. That is a lot of items, right? It's 4
items instead of 2.
Yeah, guaranteed 2. There's guaranteed 2 in the front, out of like 5 chests, so. Yeah, up to 3, but yeah, at least 2.
One of the other modes in that's available to the runners is that small key shuffle. That's where Skullwoods really shines with those extra 3 items.
Yeah, definitely. All right, here we go. Jamie sure getting the clip. Nicely done. We're going to see these 6 checks up here and check our Toro Rock requirement. We haven't seen any medallions yet, have we?
Nope. I mean, not that we could use them anyway.
Yeah. All right, what do we got? Super Bunny Cave, $20. Oh,
okay,
medallion.
there's a medallion.
So that means Toro Rock is Quake now, right? I mean, Ether.
Or
now.
Bombos, No. I mean, if we could get in, right? You're thinking Key Under the Doormat? No, I'm guessing it'll be Misery Mire will be the Ether.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Checking it first, which I think that implies he's going to save and quit out of Hookshot Cave here, assuming he doesn't.
Oh, it is Ether, so we do have Key Under the Doormat, except we only have like a half, like 1/3 of the key because we don't have the hammer to get up there or the sword to actually activate it.
Hey, maybe there's a sword, an ice rod, and a hammer all in. Actually, no, that's very likely.
Yeah, but Jamie sure won't get a cane because we know that's not here. But money getting plentiful. There's a sword.
There's the sword. Okay, so we can potentially do Mire logically. And a cape. Yikes.
Hey, we can go to Aga.
Just thinking. Yeah, not much you can do else. Not much else you can do up here. So, save and quit had to be done no matter what. You might have been thinking about, like you mentioned earlier, Spike Cave, but without a hammer, that's actually not possible. So, all right, okay, he's going back to the Dark World. So, this is Skullwoods, right?
I imagine so. We got a sword, so you can do it.
Yeah. Okay. I guess also got the capes. So this is like 5 checks now he can clean up.
Yeah, and with half magic, if you're really in trouble with Moth, you could fire a bunch of fire rod shots, or you could spam the sword slashes with that cape. Moth being one of only 2 bosses in the light world that actually takes damage from fighter sword slashes. So
Yeah, and then doesn't take any damage actually because you just hit into the spikes over and over. And...
yeah. Well, you know, it's kind of funny when you think about it, because Moth takes damage from fighter sword, but in the vanilla game doesn't take damage from gold sword. So
yeah, right. You got to use those pokes if you're doing a run where you end up with gold sword.
Yep.
Fun little mechanics like that make this game interesting too. Lots of knowledge to be learned if you're playing it a lot.
Fortunately, in Randomizer, we have corrected that, and if you have a gold... Now, spins, on the other hand, don't ever spin with either tempered or gold sword, because Moth will not take damage from that.
Yeah.
They did fix it so the gold sword will do tempered sword damage, but they did not do anything to allow spins to work, so just don't do it.
Oh, we found our second item in the front. We found Quake now.
Yeah, well, okay. 2/3 of a chance we can get into Myers, so, you know, the runners will be hoping for Bombos there.
Yeah, and we're getting kind of close to Hammer no mode. You know, like we likely need a mirror, hammer, and ice rod at this point.
Yep. Can we please, game, give us the ice rod before the hammer?
Yeah,
please?
I know, right?
Ice rod.
It's all we want for Christmas.
I say ice rod hunts are the worst. They're actually not. Boots hunts are the worst, but you know, ice rod hunts are a close second. Especially if you don't actually have the boots to do them. The reason why the boots hunts are the worst is because, just by definition, you don't have boots to do them.
So I think one thing we saw that was a little bit of divergence was Mike didn't activate Flute before these mountain checks, so he'll remember to do it before going to the Dark World, but either way he'll be walking back to the Dark World here.
Yeah, I think this is maybe a little bit of a time save, because you know you're gonna go to the village or the Light World here anyway to go activate it. You're gonna go there to go into the Dark World. And since we already had the save quit spot in the mountain, you can just save and quit there.
Yep. Yeah, this will work out really nicely from a routing perspective.
Yeah. So Mike practicing.
2 items. Oh yeah. He's fluting his Christmas carols for all of Hyrule, running around in his Santa hat, spreading the joy. Oh, we're doing the bridge chest first from Jay Misha. That's kind of surprising.
You know, I kind of like this in Without a Sword. I assume he's been counting and knows this isn't a small key.
Yeah, this is definitely an item, but this to me says that he wants to leave after this, and the only thing he can check is Bumper Ledge. Or yeah, like just that's it. So I don't know if I would have set this up to have to walk all the way to Bumper Ledge afterwards. I either would have done it before Skullwoods or just abandoned it for.
Yeah, I think I like the Bumper Ledge before Skullwoods, especially when you have the mitts to get in here anyway, so you're not taking a ton of time routing around. I do like the check for just on the off chance it's your sword. Like a master sword in the Moth fight is much better than a fighter sword.
Absolutely. And it was a green 20, so that could be a mail upgrade, a bow.
Could be. I mean,
heart
at this point, yeah, we might be out of our heart pieces or heart containers. Hard to say.
Yeah, I don't think we found Sank Heart yet, so that's definitely one of the 14. So very likely there's like one more heart container or 3 more, like up to 3 more pieces or something.
Yep. Okay, so Mike is going to check the ledge first. It's just a map. You know, I always hate seeing maps in places like that because it's just really too slow to pick it up, but it's information.
Yeah, you want it, but it's like,
the potential information, you know, there's the potential that information could save you a ton of time. There's also the possibility that map is just like Hyrule Castle map or GT map. You don't want to go all the way there just to get one of those. So I agree with him not picking it up, but you know, you just hate to see it. Yeah, as you expected, he is walking right out, so.
Yeah, this is a long walk. Like, you know, if you were to time this is like over a minute
very long.
time spent for this one check. And then
Especially
I guess you do catfish afterwards. Yeah. But even going to Catfish
Yeah.
after this is really long.
Yeah,
So,
you hate, if you had a mirror and you could do like Graveyard Ledge and do the Zora area after Catfish,
exactly.
this would be better. But right now we have just the one bumper ledge and Catfish if you choose to do it.
Yeah. And I want to point out here, both runners actually did a really well-timed play of throwing the pot before the hand came down, or in
Mhm.
between where the hand was, so by the time they picked up the chest, they were able to just take their free ride back to the front.
Yep.
In the pinball room. That's really hard to do, so props to them both for getting that. Oh, he wants to do Thieves Town here. Okay.
I mean, we have the sword now. We can do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Could re-grab the smith as well.
Samaria made this room much easier. Jamie sure actually got bullied by the Gibdos in that room and ended up having to take an intentional death to refill his health. So that was a fair bit of time saved. Small things like that add up over the course of a seed.
Yeah, Samaria does some fun things in early dungeons that you don't normally get to see you wouldn't see in vanilla because you get the Samaria so late in both a speed run or a casual run. Okay, so far the small key has not shown up, so there's still the possibility that we can have a nice out-of-logic Thieves Town that we don't have to ever come back to.
Yeah. By the way, I want to point out too, both runners are using MSU packs today. Structural Mike using Super Mario RPG and Jamie Sure using the Messenger. It's a relatively newer thing that we've allowed on SpeedGaming. That players get to add different soundtracks to the game as they play it, which is always fun to hear.
Well, some are more fun than others. Super Mario RPG is a good one.
Yeah. Depends on who you ask the definition of fun. So.
there are some really good ones out there.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some ones that, not so much.
Do you use MSUs when you play?
I do not.
Oh, okay.
Although I think Danny Music had created a brass Link to the Past soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
It's just absolutely beautiful. And if there was ever one I was going to use, that's probably the one I would use.
Yeah,
it's an old trumpet player,
Yeah, that one's really good. Yeah, so I do like to showcase, just a little bit of everyone's MSU throughout a race. Still have the same information.
Yep. Well, it's gonna be it's a 50-50 shot because only Zelda Cell, the Maiden Cell, is the only place where that small key can actually be. Once you go to the back. So it was a 50-50 shot the entire time that he's gone back here. So we're about to find out. Yep. Are we out of logic and happy, or are we in logic and not happy? We're in logic and not happy.
Yeah.
Item in the big chest.
We'll be fine. That's never the ice rod or the boots.
No, never. And, we might still need the boots, because we don't know if Desert Palace is a pendant or a crystal, and we don't know if one of those keys is sitting on the torch.
All right, Mike. Uh-oh, doing Zora. I was gonna say rushing off to Meyer area, but no, doing Zora first. So I like this play. Clean this up. If you had a mirror, you could try and chain it with Catfish, but in this case, just go now. Get an elbow first.
Yeah, I think that the Zora play here is pretty good.
Yeah, I like this.
Say the water checks.
Clean up stuff with the flute, making it faster.
Just a heart piece on the man under the bridge.
Yeah, both runners doing a nice job so far of, just kind of following the progression. It looks like Jay Misher is planning the Smith chain here.
Yeah, I mean, this is Mirrorless Smiths is one of those things that you hate to do, but if it pays out, there's a good chance your opponent didn't do it yet.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's just an arrow cave in the fairy tale. Can we at least get a decent potion?
I know.
Yes, we can get, at least we got a blue potion. So I think that's like 2 blues and a green for Mike there. That's pretty good if you're gonna.
Yeah.
As far as potions go, like we're pretty set on safeties when it comes to bottles.
Yeah, especially in hard mode, right?
Oh yeah. So we're not hard functionality where those bottles only fill you half up. I remember when they still had that in the Mystery Seas over in Ladder, and I went to go for a Landmo kill with
Oh.
no magic, but I had a green pot, and I'm like, okay, I'll use that green pot, and yeah, you need 6 fire rod shots, it only gave me 4.
Alrighty, nothing on Smith 1. Nothing on Zora Ledge, nothing in the waterfall, and
I mean,
nothing
that
on
could have been
Zora.
our silvers.
That's true. Yeah, maybe do that instead. If he hadn't gotten to Hype Cave instead.
I mean, that's actually really. I mean, I like that some of the newer hard modes will give you a clue as to what the items were, and will basically tell you with the different item sets. Because you know, if that turned out to be a bow, and you know now you're worried that your opponent got the bow early and was able to just do Eastern type thing. You know?
It's a good question too. Is the runners don't necessarily want to go back to Eastern, especially if they don't know if it's a pendant, but that is available to them.
It is. It's one item. You want to wait till you can have a hammer and a mirror, so you can pair it with Pod. But
yeah. Oh, look at that Ether. Oh, Janisha's going in.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't hate it.
We're running out of things to do.
It's kind of gonna punish him a little bit with knowing where that Kane is, but at the same time, you got to go in to find the big key. And if you're going in to full clear it and it's a pendant, maybe there's nothing on the boss.
And it's 2 extra items in map comp. Looks like Mike's also going to do it. Now, Mike will be able to finish this because Kane is Samaria. But
it's actually very likely that there's just a small key on the boss. Just to, the Samaria just puts the 2 left side items in logic.
Yeah, the key logic in Mire is another weird one. It's 3 because there are some doors that no one ever opens in a normal run. It takes 3 small keys to get to all the stuff on the right side, but you don't need any to get to the boss.
Right.
So, you know, this is... I don't know this is necessarily advantage Mike here with that Cane of Samaria because...
yeah, pretty much only if
even
there's an
if
item on the boss.
Yeah, if he might lose time by finishing Vitreous here, and it is a pendant, so we don't need it.
Yeah. Oh, we got our final shield of the day, of the seed. Yeah, I don't think he does, though. I feel like he's not going to do the boss here if it is an item.
Yeah, I think that'd be reasonable not to do it. Of course, we have no idea if Ped has anything, and at this point, could be Ped could always be an ice rod. Let's just like that's just always a possibility. Can it be a hammer? No, it can't be a hammer because Pod's a pendant.
Yeah.
Can it be a mirror? We don't know what Swamp Palace is, so yeah, maybe it can be a mirror, maybe it can't. Could be required boots, yeah. Depending on what desert is and whether it's boost locked or not, you know. But, you know, it's always easy to say, you know, Pet is not dead when there's an ice rod still out there and a crystal turtle rock, so.
Ooh, we got vanilla keys, so that guarantees an item on the boss.
That's potentially unfortunate for Mike, unless it's something really good and he does it. So. Also, Jamie sure a little bit, you know, down to 2.5 hearts. Not ideal. These wizards do a ton of damage.
Yeah, the one gets out of the way. So he was fast enough in that first room.
He does have powder. I imagine he'll use some when he gets down to the, you know, goes down towards the right side.
Totally forgot we had powder.
Yeah, no access to magic bat, so.
I'm really curious when one of these runners is going into ice, because it's like from a viewer perspective, I always like to say we know that both runners have checked what both runners have checked, which leads us to be a little more biased and, you know, saying go into this place, go. But from their perspective, like they both still have potential kind of gross one-off stuff versus just going into ice at this point.
Yep,
so curious to see if that happens.
Yeah, I think catfish may be the one thing that neither is done yet.
Yeah, that sounds right. Catfish and pyramid. Oh,
yeah,
pyramid as well.
We have bottle percent.
I think at this point, though, having not done them, you do an ice dip before going to those two, right? I would think so anyway, because getting to those takes a million years with their Dark World access that they have.
Yeah, I mean, it's just right now it's not exactly ideal for those checks. Let's see what's here. Small key.
Oh, yeah, we knew that had to be a small key, actually.
Oh yeah, right. Because we this the key on the right, the key on the left side
Yeah.
does not allow for a key on Vitreous.
Yeah, or in the big chest. Okay.
And
This
we're
just
out.
got kind of spicy.
Now Mike has the decision to make. Now this is a pretty awful Vitreous fight.
Looks like he's going for it.
You may not realize that this has to be a small key. No, he's going for it. He does realize. Shout outs to Mike for realizing that that does have to be a small key. He's going to go for it. This will be a big moment when we see this. Now, of course, you know, so this needs to be either an item he needs or it needs to be a pet seed for this to pay out and not just losing money.
Man, MC Shuffle Pet Seed would be the worst and best thing ever at the same time. You know? I don't know what my dungeons are. I'll just beat every dungeon I can beat. And then turns out, oh, I needed to beat them all. Great. Oh, not setting up Spooky here. That's okay. Alright, so Jamie's cleaning up the Zora.
Can do the Zora stuff. Still has front of escape. Still has Agita's Cave. Still has both runners have catfish.
Yeah, we saw a cool trick from Mike there, the boomerang trick, where if you use your hook shot while the red boomerang is still on screen, it extends the range of how far the hook shot travels for some reason, or the boomerang. And in this case, it screen wraps and hits the switch.
Oh, neat. I've actually not seen that before.
Yeah, it's a nice thing to do. Obviously, you can't preserve Spooky if you do it, so that's kind of the choice you make, choosing that trick over doing Spooky.
Yeah, I will point. So yeah, chat suggesting Mike would know the key logic. Yeah, I fully expect our runners to know the key logic. But it's easy to know the key logic. It's not so easy to remember it when you're actually making checks.
Oh, got bopped there. He's gonna use a green blue cape. I don't know. He's not being decisive. He's in panic.
I would get that cape out and do some.
Yeah, just start using the cape and just abuse it.
I mean, you can't slash, so you're not going to be able to use it in the way you could with the Master Sword, but
yeah,
you can still get quite a few spins in there. Gonna soften him up some bombs too. It has 29 arrows, which isn't too bad. I mean, when I played this back in the day, when I didn't know anything about speedruns and none of us were doing that back then.
Yeah.
I used to get all the arrow upgrades, and so you'd come in here like 80 arrows. So you just fire arrows until all the eyeballs are dead, right?
He's definitely making a choice of how he wants to take this fight. Looks like, okay, he's got it down. So.
Okay, the rest of this will be fine, because we've got the little eyeballs down, and you can just use the bow for the big eyeball.
There we go. Alright, what do we got? Does this pay off? Is the boots!
Okay!
Yeah, that's a pretty big payoff!
That is a big payoff. Interestingly enough, it may not be required, but just having those boots might make the difference.
Yeah, it'll definitely give him the ability to go faster for forever. There's no way Jamie's just going back to that check
not anytime
until it's
soon.
hard required.
So this race just got really spicy.
Yeah. We're gonna see these two boots checks first. Mike was the one, or Jamie sure checked Lumberjack? I forget.
I want to say it was Mike.
Yeah, I feel like it was too.
But you get the boots, you immediately want to know if there's something important behind them.
Ooh, one item that's already not good. Oh, it's the mirror.
And
okay.
a mirror, okay. Still not necessarily hard required, but the odds just went way up.
Yeah, this is let's go do. Hey, you remember earlier when you said hopefully Jamie sure finds the mirror before going to
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah.
I mean, or it didn't happen, but he will not be able to mirror into that check.
Yeah,
so,
this is actually probably the best case scenario right now for Jamie Sure in that he's gonna get there a lot sooner than he would otherwise. Hey, a sword.
Yeah, because what's gonna happen is the mirror is opened up a ton of things for Structural Mike to do.
Yeah.
And Jamie Sure will run out of things to do very shortly. Like so no hammer here. Like an ice rod in here would be the best scenario, I think, for Jamie Sure right now. So required item, and then, but not a hammer here, now potentially moves him away from that. But I guess the hammer doesn't open up too much, because it would open up. You have to check in Thieves Town that he didn't do. You have hammer pegs, but he can't do anything in Turtle Rock. So maybe hammer here would not be the terrible thing.
Yeah, that's true. We see Mike going into Desert first here. So basically, with that mirror, he opened up Hera and Desert, right? And then a bunch of nasty overworld checks that don't exist.
Yep, pretty much. Smith Chain got better.
Yeah, that's true. Smith Chain. Jay Mishu does have that second Smith Chain check. He dropped down. Oh, he has the hook shot. Right.
Yeah, this is fine.
So we do know that the big key on the left side of Ice Palace puts the right side into requiring it to have the hook shot logically.
Yep, that's right. That's where Ice Palace logic gets weird, because everybody wants to say that you have the big key. Having the big key available is what makes it logical, but it's actually the other way around. It's the big key not being available because there are two locked doors behind the big key door. So the big key allows you to, again, use your small keys badly. So big key available makes things more hookshot locked, or just hookshot locked. I don't know if more is
more.
way to put it.
Oh, Mike's doing checkerboard before beating Desert here. Just kidding. Mike's gonna go beat Desert and then go do checkerboard here.
I mean, I think either one is fine. Yeah, grab that map.
Yeah, grab that. Oh, okay.
Press
X. Press X. Yes. Oh, it's a pendant. No. Oh, Eastern's a crystal. We do have that bow. So we have full knowledge now on Mike's side, being able to deduce that Hera and Swamp are going to be the last two crystals.
But this will be an item on Landmo, because again, we can't, this is another of our many bosses that can't have a small key on it, which means that he's already got one pendant. He's already got, he could do, it. I mean, it gets him closer to Ped, and Ped could still be a thing, but you're in a situation. This is an item. You're right here. I think it's fine to do.
Yeah. So I think Jay Misha found 3 items in ice out of 5. None of those which were the hammer, notably.
Or the ice rod.
Yeah, or the ice rod, right. Ooh, Mike's doing the fire dash here. I think he got the pixel. This is a cool trick that I don't ever try, and I never think of doing, because if you fire out at the right spot, you can just dash all the way.
That looks really neat. And Jay Misha going into the front of escape, which is, we know has nothing. Unfortunate. Little sidetrack for him.
I'm a little surprised he would do this before Eastern, maybe, because there's an item on the boss of Eastern still. But he doesn't know. He might know it's a crystal. He might have the shovel, of course. A
shovel. To be determined.
Interesting that Mike went for this.
Okay, so he'll go and do the checkerboard check now.
Yeah, and I want to say he's going to go do Eastern next, right? That makes the most sense from his perspective. A clearable crystal that has a guaranteed item on the boss.
Yep, that makes sense.
And then maybe Hera afterwards. I don't know. Just trying to think about what choices he has. There's not much. So.
Yeah, he hasn't done Thieves Town. We know Thieves Town really doesn't have anything, and we know that there is an item in the big chest. And at this point, you've waited this long to be able to open that big chest. I'm not sure, unless if you find the ice rod, then you can just forget about, if you're in hammer go mode, you can just do Thieves Town, because the hammer can't be in the big chest.
Oh, but he's not going to Thieves Town? Oh, is he going to clean up Overworld?
This could be
I don't
Thieves
know.
Town.
I still think it makes more sense. You got 2 crystals you can just go knock out.
Yeah,
Eastern
I agree.
And Hera. And both of them have, Eastern has only 1 more item, but Hera has 4 items still. Wow,
yeah,
I'm a little surprised by.
Yeah, I like Hera better. It is, like you say, 4 items with that mirror, and it is a crystal that we have to do.
Yeah. All right.
I always feel a little bit sad when somebody puts off Thieves Town and puts off Thieves Town, finally gives in, and then they'll get the hammer right after.
Yeah. And he will gain a little more time here too, as well, with this, with having the boots in here. So Jamie's sure about to find his cane, and
We'll see what that does.
He won't be super mad about it because all this changes is the fact that now he has to go beat Meyer, and he now knows that since he has nothing left. So it'll more just be like, oh dang, if I had this earlier, I would have had to make a terrible choice.
Yeah, I mean, right now,
Meyer.
I think right now his choice, the only other choice is to finish up Eastern.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you were gonna do that, I think you do that before you do this check. So it might this cane might just lead him, like you say, to do the finish Meyer.
Yeah, and also I guess.
Yeah, save him quit.
I guess he could also do what's it called? Purple chest.
Ugh.
Mike,
yeah,
you have no
purple
bombs.
chest is available.
Mike,
oh, and
3
catfish
bombs.
is still available because of course. Why not?
Yeah, right. That's actually a good comedy option.
Looks like we're gonna do Eastern first, which is fine. We have to do this anyway. Oh no! Well, no, you can't do pod.
Go to Eastern. Don't go to
Eastern. Go to Eastern. Looks like he wanted to finish pod here, but it's a little surprise. Like pod is abandoned, so like that's not really a priority at the moment.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised at both runners how much they really don't want to go finish Eastern. I think they both know it's. I know that Mike knows it's Crystal because we saw him do the map.
Yeah, we
check
saw him do
where
the
it
map
showed
check.
up on the thing.
But the fact that Jay Misha was trying to do pod was really curious because he's full clear to accept the boss. It is a pendant.
Yeah.
So, exactly. I mean, that's 2 items, but like you also have other dungeons that have not pendants. I mean,
right. Exactly.
You have a dungeon that has not pendant. We are going to see some purple chest action. But we're still missing that ice rod. We're still missing that hammer. And as long as if Jamie sure gets those items first, especially that ice rod, especially if it's in a really bad place, like this purple chest having having an ice rod. I don't know when Structural Mike does that, even with the mirror.
I'm really curious to see if this ends up being the hammer. Like, what do you do? Because that doesn't actually open that much, except Turtle Rock.
I mean, it lets you finish Ice Palace. It lets you do ice rodless Turtle Rock.
It's just nothing. Mike now cleans up these 10 as well, so is tied up on crystals, but has the 2 pendant dungeons done.
Yeah, we do now know that the mirror is hard required, thus the boots are hard required because we do need to do a Swamp Palace.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I didn't see what was on the torch in Desert, but I did notice that Mike had a compass in Desert, and that it said 5 out of 6, which tells me he saw whatever was on the torch and didn't pick it up.
Yeah, I think it was 5 rupees. I'm really surprised that Mike's doing all this versus like having as many crystals as he has available.
Yeah, I mean, it's in particular Hera with 4 items.
Yeah, specifically. And both of them just are like no to Eastern, which is kind of funny.
Usually you say no to Eastern and you can't finish it.
Right. And the first item they found in the Dark World was the flippers and then the bow.
Yep. This is Catfish from Jay Misha.
Huh. Yeah. This definitely isn't like over. There's, like you said, if Jay Misha finds the ice rod in a pretty nasty spot, then, they'll be in hammer go mode and won't realize it until they go and beat Pendant Vitreous. Ooh, magic bat time. I see what Mike's doing now.
Yeah, combining this way I think works pretty well.
Yeah, it's the mushroom.
Oh, the reverse.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't doing fake mushroom today.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, Catfish, what do you got for us?
Three bombs.
Nothing.
Yeah. Alright. This is.
Oh, he really wants to do pod. Like, what is? You can't even do anything.
He did. Yeah, he already did pod.
He did everything. Like, we could check the pyramid. Maybe that's what he wanted to do.
Maybe that's what he was trying to do. Yeah.
He wanted to do pyramid catfish and realized he has to do it from the backwards. So okay, I'm gonna make that assumption because I can't imagine any reason to try and go back to pod in that situation because he did up the rest of it. He can't get to the back, and it's pendant anyway. So even if you were forgetting that you'd done everything and couldn't do more. I can't imagine both forgetting that you've done everything, couldn't do more, and forgetting that it's a pendant, right?
Yeah, totally.
And that mushroom was nothing. It was just some 50 rupees. At this point, money doesn't matter, so...
Yeah, Mike refilling that blue potion he spent during the Vitreous fight. So, all right,
with this much money, yeah, and you're already there. This is Eastern from Mike.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, I still want to see Hera.
Yeah.
I really want to see Hera.
And 10 arrows. All right.
Okay. He did that so quickly, I completely missed it. I'm glad you saw it. I was about ready to say, yeah, he's saving and quitting, so it's nothing, but I didn't see it.
We definitely know it's nothing. That's the more important things.
So I think Jay Misher may be down to Eastern or Vitreous. And he's going to do Eastern first, which makes sense, because even if he doesn't know that this is a pendant, or sorry, even if he doesn't know that this is a crystal, he knows that Myra is a pendant.
Yeah, that's
because he's been in the dungeon. There was a little.
He's trying to dodge it when he found nothing in the front. So why would there be anything in the back, right?
So for his sake, I hope this is an ice rod and not a hammer. Because if it's not a hammer, then I think he'll just have that Vitreous fight left, which means he'll do that next. Get that mirror. He'll get those boots. Get the mirror. Most likely, because they'll just open up those two locations. If it's a hammer, he's got other choices.
Yeah, then he has ice, turtle rock, bunch of kind of terrible things. Turtle rock's even not a great choice either without an ice rod, but who knows? Maybe it's just in there. Oh, and I guess he could do Hera as well, huh?
Hera would be okay. Just having to walk all the way up to Hera, not so great.
Right.
We're gonna see what it is on Mike's side first, because he's almost there.
Yeah, I got in there a little earlier, had the boots to help him out as well. Oh, get a little twisted up here by the red Igor. Yeah, that makes more sense now that he was trying, Jay Misher trying to check the East Dark World stuff from the Portal 5.
Yep. No, I wish I could say that's something I've never. I just a bugnet.
Yeah.
But I think everyone's done that at least once, where you flute to 5 and you try to go through the portal that you can't go through. It's one of those classic mistakes that everybody does multiple times.
Yeah, and we started the seed off 10 minutes in with a glove in Eastern to get our second glove on the Old Man Rescue, and I think everyone who's played this game knows Myth's Dark World Access is actually the worst. And here we are, still with Myth's only Dark World Access, so...
Not the ideal Armos fight, but we'll clean this up pretty easily.
Yeah, finishes it up, so now they're still tied on crystals, right? Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they both on the exact same crystals. It just Mike's done 2 extra pendants.
Yeah.
One of which is required, the other of which is TBD.
Yeah, that shovel is the only thing that could have been, and he ditched that in doing the magic bat instead. So, that's a guaranteed item in the basement.
Fun.
Yeah, so this is a hard last location from Jay Misher here.
Yeah, I think, God, at this rate, I think I don't Herapot here. I mean, maybe you come back and you Herapot with the big key.
Yeah. Was it not the big key in the...
Yeah, no big key.
Yeah, I would just...
But it's guaranteed item in the big chest. You're running low on checks. I think you just do this. You can still Herapot and save time. You just don't save quite as much time.
No, I agree completely. Yeah. It's mainly because he's already done so much, right?
Yeah, if it was big key, small key in the front, and you know that there's an item there, you still have a chance to get the item in the other 3 chests and then come back down here. But if you have to come back down here just to get the big key to go back up to the big chest after you've already done everything, I think that's not ideal.
Agreed. So, here's the thought now. Jay Misher's going to find these boots, then he's going to find his mirror, and then he's going to be like, oh boy, here we go.
Yep. So what does he do first?
Does he need to... I mean, he probably needs to make a play at that point. Like, he's far enough behind to have to consider, okay, what can I do to make up some time if my opponent, ended up...
I mean, I guess the mirror overall... He's already done the Smith chain, so he doesn't have that available. But he does have... if he knows it's Pendant Desert, I could see him doing that, which we know is not all that useful yet.
Right.
We have, K45 and Graveyard Ledge? Graveyard Ledge is usually the worst of those, so maybe...
Yeah.
try and hit those up pretty quickly.
Yeah, either make a play to check that stuff quicker, or rush dungeons and skip things. How do you skip anything when you hard lassocate something this crucial? I
know, right? It's tough.
He could Harapot. We found that the big chest had nothing in Hera.
Yeah, I think for him, I think the Harapot is maybe a better play than it was for Mike for that exact reason. Like if you're already feeling behind, you need to cut that's a good corner to cut.
Yeah,
but it's a tough corner to cut because we're running out of things, you know?
Yep. Okay, so if there's nothing on the boss... Well, let's wait till we see. It is... the hammer!
Oh, it's the hammer.
Okay.
So he really just needs to... So Jamie just needs to book it over to Hera. Now, if he does do some of those more out-of-the-way checks and the Ice Rod happens to show up, and in one of those places rather than, say, Swamp Palace, which I imagine Mike will either be Swamp Palace or Ice Palace next, Jamie Shear's still in this, very much so. Like,
yep.
The Ice Rod Hunt is the great equalizer.
Ooh, Jamie Shear only has 2 arrows. That's not good.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. He should have a potion, right? Just in case.
Well, he's got 4 bottles, so there must be potions in there somewhere.
Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, he just uses it. That's interesting, too, because he was doing a really good job with the spins on the small eyeballs, but then he used 5 arrows to burn. He burned through 5 arrows at the end. This takes... Spike Cave was nothing.
Yeah, I think we've gotten our allotment of hearts and only Sankard is left.
Oh, he has the cape, okay.
You just gotta keep an eye out on that. You don't want that magic to run out at a really bad time. So just keep an eye out on the magic and you're fine. I have no idea how many spins this takes, and I haven't been counting anyway. There we go.
Yeah, it takes a lot. The boots!
It's the boots.
Alright, so from Mike's perspective, you know, he probably feels pretty decent with his routing. Does he skip stuff? And also, why did he do skip chain? Just kidding.
So he'll do. I imagine he'll do all of ice. You know, with the Cane of Samaria, it's a pretty quick dungeon to full clear. Swamp gets more interesting because there's always left side, and do you skip it? And then he'll have a bunch of mirror checks left for the Ice Rod. Jamie Leisure has already done the worst checks of Ice Palace, so he can just go straight in there once he has the hammer. Hopefully he goes straight to Hera and doesn't do... Hopefully for Jamie Leisure to stay in this, he needs to either go straight to Hera to get that hammer, or needs to start doing these mirror checks and hope for an Ice Rod in a bad spot.
Yeah, this is kind of, you know, what we were looking at earlier, because the mirror blocks so much.
Yep.
And like if Jamie should go straight to Hera, he'll have his and let's say he Herapots, you know, in theory here, then he'll have his hammer in about 2 minutes from now, and he'll be about an Ice Palace behind Structural Mike. So it's still very close between them.
Yep.
So it was kind of the most ideal situation that the boots were there and blocked so much.
Okay, let's see where he flutes to.
Not going to Hera. Oh, he doesn't know Desert's appended. That's fair.
Yeah. Right, because the desert map is like right here.
Yeah. Maybe he grabs that first and finds out, and then he says, nope.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. So far,
I guess he'll find out when he goes inside, huh?
Yeah, that'll work too. There's that P.
Oh, he's doing it though. He's following the footsteps, same ones that Mike did.
He might not finish the dungeon though.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably about half the time that you can spend in Desert is just beating the boss, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Ooh.
There's that big key.
All these pots are arrows. Get arrows.
Yeah, Desert has a lot of arrow pots.
Oh, so that's where the other small key was in Iced Tea. Alright, so finish up ice here, and what do we have left? Swamp TR? And,
Yep,
a classic ice rod hunt, as is,
Yep.
you know, tradition.
Yeah, so the nasty part about this ice rod hunt is if say Mike finishes up swamp, you know, does left side, doesn't do left side, regardless, doesn't have an ice rod. All our checks at this point, most of our checks are a mirror lock, so there's not going to be a portal to save.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's another thing you could consider when you're on the ice rod hunt, when mirror was your hard progression item, to just check all your mirror checks before going into TR.
You know, if I feel behind, I am definitely not going to Turtle Rock looking for an ice rod. So if I'm Jay Meisher, I feel behind. I'm hoping that ice rod is not in Turtle Rock. And then hopefully hoping that my opponent, who's way ahead, goes in full clears. Turtle Rock doesn't get an ice rod.
Yeah.
And then can't save their portal. Whereas if I'm ahead, I probably say, you know, screw the mirror checks. I'm just gonna go into Turtle Rock and try and find the ice rod there. And then, you know, I can't save my portal. Well, whatever.
Yeah, no, I like that. That makes sense, because if it's there, you're done, and if not, you put yourself in a position of picking checks to do rather than having to full clear the whole game before going in there, because you've made that conscious decision. And then as soon as you find it, you're done. So.
And yes, ice rod can always be on ped.
Well, that's true.
I mean, I wouldn't count on it right now, but you know, I mean, to be fair, if you're Mike, if you go full clear Turtle Rock and you don't get an ice rod, your one non-mirror check is Green Pendant Helmasaur.
Oh gosh, that's
and
true.
Pull, you know, that's 3 items, because it's, you know, he's got both pendants, so he's gonna have. So your items are, you know, you got your ped pull, your green pendant turn, and your item on that we know is on Helmasaur. So yeah, that for Mike, I think if you do end up in Turtle Rock without the ice rod, you don't find it, that's probably the first thing I do. It's the one thing that saves your portal. 3 items. You've already done 2 pendants for, you know, well, not for nothing because you got boots, but you know, not for. But you've got 2 pendants. You know, one of them potentially was for nothing. Did we ever see the shuffle checked?
No, yeah, we never saw that shovel, so that's another kind of dumb out of the way. There's no way. Okay, so after swamp here, you go do those 2, I suppose. K45 shovel.
Yeah, because they're
right otherwise
there.
You don't do them, right?
Oh, for sure. I've seen enough Graveyard Ledge ice rods, though. I'd be very worried about that spot. Even if, I mean, I probably, you know, again, in Mike's situation, I probably don't do them, but.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay, hammer for Jay Meisher.
There we go.
And of course, the game doesn't listen to me. We are on a good old-fashioned ice rod hunt. Because, of course, why not?
It had to be, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's funny that we've only found those 2 swords. Where was the first one? Was in like Hookshot Cave, right?
Yeah, the first one was pretty
nasty.
late.
Yeah.
Yeah. The second one behind the boots, I imagine. Well, there's probably one in Swamp because, you know, it's Swamp.
Yeah. Now that we're
Swamp
here.
likes to have swords. But Turtle Rock could have a sword, and of course, GT.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Turtle Rock or GT for the last sword. Or,
So
well, the last one they're gonna find, I suppose.
Interesting that Mike's doing left side first. This is map compass shuffle, so these are going to be items.
Yeah, it's guaranteed 2 items here.
Guaranteed 2 items, but you know, you're go -1. I like to go to the back first if I'm go -1 and not. And now, has he gotten the big key yet? Because my other pet peeve about doing this first is if you don't have the big key, whatever time you save by doing this first, you lose if the big key's not here and you have to walk back into the dungeon potentially.
Yeah. Actually, never thought about that. I always thought that just doing this if you're doing it full clear, to just always do it first. But no, I don't think he found the big key though. Okay,
yeah, I will typically I mean, I'm a chronic left side swamp skipper, but in non-key sandy modes, I want to have that big key if I'm even going to consider going over there. Whereas key sandy modes, you know, it's 2 items, and this is kind of the in between of those. So, I mean, for swamp, at all intents and purposes, the key sandy mode, because like the small key is always the first item, and so it's just the big key that's shuffled.
Oh,
And there it is!
Wow. Like, oh, no, check the other. Okay, fine.
Could have been a sword.
It could have been a sword.
Could have been a sword.
That's fine. This is fine.
Well, that's go mode for Mike. I think this is a big enough lead that Jamie sure is just gonna. I think we're gonna have a game 5. Unless something really weird happens.
And I don't think Jay Misher's gonna do left side, right? Like feeling that behind. I don't know.
I mean, it's just yeah. You're go -1. I go to the back first.
I like the
pretty common
sprite
play.
space. By the way, when the ice rod popped, the sprite looked to the side and froze for a moment. You could tell that was actually just representative of structural Mike in that instant. There's that big key.
There's that big key. So he's gonna be incentive. We don't. I mean, yeah, there's gonna be 3 items for him to go back into. So he's gonna be very incentivized to go back in.
Ooh, another map to Eastern. Now we know it's a crystal for sure. We can go beat it. That's why they were waiting. They didn't have the map. Ooh, nice fire rod shots from Jamie, sure. Oh, gets a spooky on that one. That's fine. Then,
got to finish it up with sword spins. We're down to 1 puff. This should be fine.
Yeah.
Here.
Nice.
There we go.
Oh, Mike rushing the hook shots there.
Oh,
going for the
3.
triple.
Wow, nice.
Didn't even know you could do that.
Kind of evened out by only getting a single in the second one, but you know.
Yeah. Use the ice rod strat that he just found. This is an easy way to get 4 shots in if you nail the first one. There you go. Takes him down.
Very
nice,
nice.
Easy. Heading on up to Turtle Rock. So the one chest he skipped was a sword. I guess we've.
Yeah, I mean, of course it's a sword because it's swamp.
Right. So he's about a swamp full clear head.
It could also be in the big chest, of course, but we're definitely not going back in for that.
The thing is here, though, Jamie sure after this, the only thing he really has left is a bunch of terrible overworld and then Turtle Rock. So.
Yeah, I think he goes back in because he'll be 3 items.
Yeah.
As opposed to 3 is his other mirror checks are like 3 spread out items, or go straight to Turtle Rock, and he really is in a position where he's got to figure that if the answer is Turtle Rock, he just loses. Whereas there's always the possibility that Mike didn't do left side. And you count on that. You hope for that, not the ice rug just being in the dungeon. But we'll see what he decides to do.
Yeah, I wonder if he's also thinking about maybe my opponent got the cane early but decided not to beat the boss the first time and did other stuff. Because it's really hard when you last locate something in like a high pressure race like this. Your mind starts convincing you of all of these things being possible. Mike still has the 2 blue goos and the green goo too. I don't think Jay Misher has any potions, so Mike does have a nice safety advantage going into the end game here, depending on if GT can be trolly sometimes with only Master Sword. If they don't find another sword, then you got to be a little careful on Ganon. But having the cave path magic and a bunch of potions is the best way to be careful.
And into Turtle Rock. And of course, Turtle Rock and Go mode doesn't really save you a bunch of time in most modes. Only key sandy modes.
Yeah, totally. Because then you just have all the keys, you run straight to the back and save like half the time of the dungeon.
Well, we gotta dig out 3 small keys and the big key.
So, how much would you be digging for a sword here if you're in Mike's position? Do you check Crystal Roller? Do you check Laser Bridge?
Crystal Roller, yes. How much of Laser Bridge I check depends on what kind of key I'm looking for. See, here's the thing. You've got half magic. You've got a decent amount of safety in those bottles. cape spins are a perfectly good way of doing phase 2 of Ganon. So, with that, me personally, with that cape, that makes a huge difference.
It's interesting.
Jamie Misher's
She's
going right
back.
back for the big chest. That means he's probably not going back in for left side.
Yep, that's
That's
exactly
not
what I was
good.
thinking.
He's hoping it's right here. Yeah, it's just a blue rupee.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, we're fine.
Fine.
Doesn't matter if the sword's on the left side there. Yeah, I'm really not a huge fan of following that big key unless you've already done left side, right? Because now it's just 2 items to go back in for, and instead of 3. And it's not the big. He's probably thinking, well, maybe Mike didn't go back in for the big chest. Maybe he did left side, got the items, didn't go back in for the big chest. But unfortunately, it's not the case.
Yeah, brain working in overdrive here for sure. Oh, yeah, I was going to say, we found 2 small keys already, so we can just keep going.
Yeah, as long as the lava chest isn't the big key, you can almost always skip it.
Oh, yeah, good point.
There's that less than, I always say less than 5%, because no one can agree on the actual percentage, but we know it's less than 5.
Yeah.
That these small keys are in both the lava chest and the big chest, which case Mike will be very sad, and we'll have to backtrack.
Yeah. That's the worst too, because you made the skip, you can't even mirror to get there.
Yep. Now, I mean, since everybody does it, I don't, you don't worry about it too much because you expect your opponent to do the same thing.
We're seeing some pretty good Master Sword spins from Jay Misher here. So a funny thing to just point out here, that first sword in Hookshot Cave basically locked the entire seed, because all the other swords were Hookshot locked.
Yeah.
Or sword locked, rather.
Yep.
You needed a sword to get into any of them, so.
I mean, we don't know where the last sword is, but
yeah,
the places that we haven't seen were at least behind one of those swords. Like, if there's a sword sitting on Graveyard Ledge, it was still behind the sword to get into Mire, to get the boots, get the mirror.
Exactly. Oh, cool. And we did find another small key somewhere. Crystal Roller must have been.
Yeah, it's always nice when you can just skip Laser Bridge. Yeah, Jamie Misher not going back into Swamp, which is not a surprise with him doing that big chest.
Yep,
He's
the way
gonna
he
do
did
these
it.
other mirror checks. I mean, I do like him doing the mirror checks rather than going straight to Turtle Rock. For the exact reasons I talked about earlier, but it's just, we know this is not going to pay out.
Oh, that was cool. Mike dashed through the head instead of stopping and walking to the right, just all the way through, and was able to start swinging from below.
And we'll never know what was on that shovel because Jay Misher never picked it up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so people are asking about silvers. One of those green 20s was our silvers. We don't know which one.
Oh, time to go into Ganon's Tower.
I do kind of wish that the hint would still give us the answer to where the silvers were. Now, that was actually one of the big complaints in the tournament a year and a half ago, was that not knowing where the silvers were, because knowing where the silvers are, it can tell you something about what your opponent might have done, and whether you need to be worried about what that other location. And the way this mode works, everything turns into a green 20, so you don't know which green 20 is your silvers, unless there's a very some niche situations where it's like, okay, you get a couple green 20s right away that are your mail upgrades, and the next one comes after your bow, but before you're out of hearts and stuff. But most of the time, you have no, or there's some weird situations where you can see a bow. Like if Zora has a bow, you'll actually see the bow get thrown, but when you pick it up, it turns into a green 20. So there's some weird situations there. I think that could happen on the torch here too, but that's a green 50, so
yeah, it's not the bow.
It's definitely not the bow.
Yeah, the visible bows is actually really frustrating, because then your brain thinks you're looking for the wrong item.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen like a bow on Bumper Ledge. I'm like, okay, I'm looking for the cape now. Nope, turns out that was just silvers.
Yep.
Cape is in GT. All right, 1, 2, 3. Not here yet. Ooh, nice fire rod double. Mike is a chronic rando room rusher here.
not even a dark magician there.
Yeah. He
Really
did a
the only-
stats thing with timing a while back on, and just figured out.
I mean,
the
that's what he
average
does.
time the big key. Yeah.
He is stats guy for sure. The only other person that I see doing Rando Rush on a regular basis, you see Koi doing this a lot.
Yeah, for sure. It's Rando Rush or Hope Rush, you know, different versions of how to search for the big key. And the answer is typically the best way to do it is the one that gets you there the fastest.
Yep.
There's bad ways to do it, and then there's every other way. So
So Jay Misher is gonna full clear Turtle Rock, looking for that ice rod. Is not gonna find it.
yeah, and it's in like the worst
portal.
spot. Yep, exactly.
I mean, unless he goes to pod and does the pod stuff that we had talked about. I mean, he's still not going to be able to save the portal since it is in Swamp, but he could go for a portal save. And Rando Rush worked today. Because there's that big key in Rando.
No small keys. Don't.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, Mike, you need a key. Mike. There's definitely not a key on the climb here. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh, this.
That's why you do hope. That's why you do hope left.
This would be the opener for Jay Misher if he had gone to left side swamp.
Yeah, this gains back maybe not all the time, but a decent chunk of it. This is going to be a solid about 3 minutes time loss here. Yeah, this is so. There's guaranteed not a key on this climb with where the big key was in this case. There's probably 2 in Hope Room, and then there's at least 1 in Hope Room for sure. That's all we know.
Yeah, there could be Tile Room. We know there's not one in Compass Room.
Yeah, exactly. It could be either in the basement, Bob's chest, or the behind Ice Armos. At least 1 there, and then
Hope Room. Both Hope Room and not Hope Room. Compass Room and Rando Room can only have a small key if the big key is also there.
Yep. Oh well, this is sort of kind of a comedy option for Mike's sake. He's going to be freaking out, but doesn't realize how ahead he is.
So yeah, I mean, because this is what I talked about earlier when we were talking about the key logic in Misery Mire, and Mike rightfully skipped a chest that had to have a key. It's one thing to know it; it's another thing to actually remember it in the moment. Yeah,
for sure. It's easy to panic, be like, "Oh, I need to go fast! I need to go fast!" And like you go too fast sometimes, faster than your brain can handle. He hasn't noticed it so far. I was curious if he'd like figured out halfway up and be like, "Oh wait." Meanwhile, Jay Misher's still cleaning out. The checks in TR we know are not the ice rod. No, they're not really anything. The only real item he could kind of find now is either the book or like the Saint card, which
no book.
Nothing.
No, please no book. Book doesn't do nothing.
It makes it waste time. Yeah.
Book opens up 2 awful checks that we don't want to do at this point.
That's true.
Book can just be sitting in, Ice Armos or something like that. Okay, well, we're almost to that point. Okay,
there's the key. It's gonna open these. Is he? Yeah, he is.
I mean, he has to at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not thinking about it anymore. Brain off, go fast on mode. Oh, there's that blue cane. I'm glad we learned what those were. Right, red 20, 10 arrows, laser bridge, not having the goods so far. 11 arrows and 20 rupees.
Yeah, one of these has to have a small key. Possibly even both.
And
yep, there you go.
Yep. And the red 20.
Let's do the climb again.
Alright, do you think he does this climb faster this time?
No, because he's got very little magic. I mean, he could take the safety room, but you're already like, well, wait a minute. My opponent's probably also on the climb right now, and probably didn't forget the small key because they didn't do that route. They probably went to Hope Room and got the 2 small keys. So you're going to be like, well, I can't stop in the safety room and get that extra magic.
So, if we were to consider here, if Jamie Sure had done left side, he would have probably saved the amount of time Mike spent climbing on the extra checks and TR. He would have been finishing up Trinex about that time, but he still would have had to go look for the big keys. So,
yeah, I don't know what
fine.
I don't know what route Jamie Sure typically takes. So, like, say if he went, a lot of people will do that Hope Room and get to 2, get 2 small keys. There's a lot of people that'll find a small key in Hope Room and they'll just go right and then mirror out. Very few people do full right at this point, unless there's no mirror. And I do know I have seen players do the I'm gonna go Hope right and then oops, I don't have a mirror, so I'm just gonna go all the way to the back. I've definitely seen that happen. But yeah, had he done say, like, I think as long as he, because when we talked about this, not a lot of people do the rando rush. So I think pretty much any other route, he's not going to have that small key issue. He might not get the big key as quickly as Mike did, but not going to have that small key issue. So yeah, this would be a race. This would definitely be a very close race.
Jamie's about to get their mushroom. Oh, good.
So the good news for Jay Misher, though, his team is up 2-1. So this will not be a deciding game. We will have a game 5. Yay! Game 5, right? Game 5.
A lot of game 5s this year. There was only 1 or 2 all of last year.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a game 5 to be scheduled. I want to say Divine Beastie Boys, and who are they playing?
They're playing Beats from the East.
Beats from the East, and then if Ninjembro, that's right, because you beat Gamachu yesterday. Yeah. GG's.
Thanks.
That's a good win. If Ninjembro wins the race at 6 o'clock, coming up, I assume on this channel. I haven't actually looked. Then
it's on this.
Wilson Empty and WJPD-TV are going to play a game 5 almost immediately after. So that'll be 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock. So we could have a game 5 today.
Oh, that's exciting.
So yeah, I mean that series. It was one of a series that I looked at and I said, "Wow, that's a really interesting series." 2 of my favorite teams, but
yeah. I want to be excited too. There's a lot of really good matches that I'm looking forward to in the next week or 2.
Yeah, this first round is full of really good matches.
Yeah, you can tell, they do the seeding high to low as you normally would in a bracket, but we're still seeing all of these matches go to game 5. It's great. And Mike,
extra bombs.
Hit the bombs. Definitely not Sankart or the book. Oh yeah, so this was the thing that we said earlier. Structure Mike did check
10 arrows.
Lumberjack and Jamie Sure had skipped that early on.
But yeah, Jamie Sure, he's already done the Turtle Rock stuff, so there's not a lot left. And turn that mushroom in. Yeah, the 136 Lumberjack check. That's always fun.
I got a nice triple there. Oh, another triple. All right, saving up all that time he spent on the second climb by knocking out.
There you go. That triples, you don't see those every day. And a lot of times, it's pretty common that you don't even have that available because the game just says no and gives you some blue ball.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think this is pod for Jay Misher, so not gonna get his go mode before Mike finishes.
Yeah, we'll be interested to hear these runners' thoughts here in a bit. But first, we have to fight Ganon on Mike's side. You were supposed to bring food, Mike. You're too busy thinking about bringing keys to remember to bring food as well.
There you go.
Who's going for the full dash? Oh, you have to, I guess, in this position. I think he got it. I can't get that many. It's too hard.
I'm lazy. I just use the cape.
Yeah.
Totally. Always have it, so it's like, why not?
It's true.
It makes it pretty free. in Narnia. At least they've gotten more creative on the where the silver arrows were. It used to always be Zevis or Zeeves or whatever you want to call it for Super Metroid, which is great as for me as a Super Metroid player. But then SMZ3 became a thing, and then we have a game where it actually literally could be there. So, so we had to get a little more creative.
Ooh, it's a nice.
Going for the cape slash. Yeah. The cape slash. I mean, you don't need to spin to damage Ganon. It just gives you like 30 frames to hit the 2-frame window instead of like 1 frame to hit the.
Yeah.
No, or 1 or 2 frames to hit the one, and that's why the hammer fight is so hard because you can't. I mean, you could do it. It's 24 shots. I remember the first time I saw someone do that, and they got to 12. I'm like, wait, there's still. Oh yeah, this is not gold sword damage. It's a hammer. So it's 24 shots, but. All right. Get your GGs in chat for Structural Mike taking this series to a game 5 and finishing up with an official race time of 1:39:38. And as suggested in chat, Jay Misher is going to forfeit shortly thereafter. Looks like he wants to at least finish the Helmasaur fight. Could just not be looking at the moment. Looks like we have Mike joining us. GG's, Mike.
Hello, guys. I like that climb so much. I wanted to do it a second time.
I mean, you had to be not feeling great when that happened, not knowing that Jay Misher skipped the ice rod in Ice Palace.
I was about 50% sure I was 10 minutes ahead, and about 50% sure I was losing by 5 minutes.
Fair enough.
So, very conflicting ideas in my head.
Oh, there's the bombos.
Oh, figures. Just no books, please. I guess we'll find out what's on PED from your credits, but But yeah, I mean, you'd built yourself a bit of a lead because you had done you'd gotten the cane early. So when you went to Misery Mire, you just finished it, and which meant you were able to get the boots and get the mirror. But turns out, the mirror blocked so many things that Jay Misher wasn't that far behind in getting the boots into the mirror. So it would have been it would have been close if he had gotten the ice rod out of Swamp Palace.
Because I was sort of betting on Jay Misher not having done pod the first trip, but of course he did, and that was a great play in definitely an MC shuffle. Yeah,
you both traded a frog for a monkey.
Yeah, I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah. I mean, Mike, Beard asked me, what do you do here? I'm like, well, if I get a bow, I'm abandoning the frog. But if I don't get a bow, then probably not, because But you got a bow in Hype Cave. It's like, well, I guess it's pod, right? Also, welcome in Jay Misher, GG's.
GG's.
Still alive because we got game 5 coming.
Yeah, GG's.
Yeah, at least the pressure was off on that front. Is there somewhere that I can report this seed for abuse? Like, I think back and figure out what I did, what I did to deserve this. Like, what karmic forces are coming back my way.
I mean, I don't want to victim blame here, but you picked this mode.
It's true. I did pick the mode.
You did.
I don't think the mode was the problem.
Okay.
I mean, the mode is what it is. Like, it definitely incentivizes you to dip dungeons a little bit more aggressively, but comes with the trade-off that sometimes you're not going to know if that dungeon is required. It might be appended. So I don't know. I mean, of the choices I had, this was the mode I felt the most comfortable in, and also, probably hated the least. I'll put it that way.
What was the game 3 choice for you guys?
Oh, the game 3 was the pseudo boots cross keys.
No. Well, okay, but the game 3 where
it was me versus Kappa. We did Randomizer, hard Randomizer.
Ooh, yuck. Ugh.
Yeah, so it was either this or small key shuffle, which no thank you, or Ambrosia or swordless.
Right,
So like
right.
I was like, this is the least bad option that we've got.
Yeah,
left.
I mean, I would have said this or small key shuffle, just because I'm not the big key, shuffle in Ambrosia. I think kind of ruins that a little bit, and I mean, swordless is swordless.
Yeah.
Like I don't blame anyone for not wanting to play swordless.
So I mean, yeah, the mode is what it is. But yeah, it's just poor luck. I felt it was really funny. I was going through Meyer and I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, I don't mind not having boots so much. Like, people complain about it all the time, but I kind of enjoy bootsless movement. Every so often, we've been doing so many boot start seeds.
Yeah, I agree.
And then, apparently just thinking that was a tip off the seed, be like, it'd be really funny.
Yep,
is if,
boots required for a mirror.
boots were going to be your last location in the very dungeon you're in right now. I thought about going to Agina before going to Meyer area, but I felt like it didn't make a ton of sense to me. It's one check. I probably have to save and quit out and then flute back to go check it. And I wasn't even necessarily planning on dipping Meyer necessarily. Just so happened to be Ether.
I mean, I'm with you. I tend not to check that location early unless I get an early enough flute or even early boots maybe. But it's just such a long walk otherwise, right? And then by the time you had the flute, you had so many other choices. So, even just getting over to 6, you've got the stuff right there.
Right. It's like maybe if I have mirror at the time, I'm checking desert first, and that might lead me into Agina.
Yeah, we were hoping you'd have mirror to go when you got to Meyer, and that just obviously did not happen.
But no, hammer is mirror locked, mirror is boots locked, so
yep.
Hard last location, total bottleneck. And then from that point, it's just like, I have to take some risks here. Like,
yep.
Am I really going to be checking left side?
Yeah, left side is one of those. I mean, I don't know how well you know Mike, and I don't know, Mike, how often, if you always do left side swamp, never do left side, what your thought process on that is. But, I mean, that's one of the situations, if you know your opponent and know what they're going to do, and if you're feeling behind, you're going to try and do what they didn't do, right?
Yeah, and for me, it's like I spent so much of the middle of that seed, bootsless, mirrorless, and hammerless, mirrorless, bootsless. Like I was walking everywhere. It felt so bad. So I was like, I have to take some risks. I have to cut some corners here to try and potentially catch up.
It makes a lot of sense.
Just hard punished at every turn.
Yeah. Yep. Randall will do that to you for sure.
And from my perspective, I was pretty sure I was, well, not pretty sure, but I was quite confident that I was maybe 5 minutes ahead. So I was like, I'm not gonna skip things. I'm gonna use that lead to not gain risk. You check Hera basement, check left side swamp.
If the ice ride had not been in swamp, would you have gone straight to Turtle Rock, or were you doing the other mirror checks?
The plan was to do K45, shovel, hammer pegs, maybe even Thieves' Big Chest. I don't know. The best opportunity for me to do TR, I think, was just after finding the hammer in Hera, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, you could have. That would have been an interesting play. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't have worked out in this seed because the ice ride wasn't there. But yeah, I mean, that was an option.
I was kind of wondering why you had put off Thieves for so long. Like, Jamie sure did it right after Skull Woods, so that was like, a choice to make there that made sense from his perspective. But you had put it off for a while, and then as soon as you got the mirror, you immediately rushed to Thieves Town instead of doing Hera and other stuff. Well, you did Desert first, I guess. But I was really curious about why you put off Hera so long.
Yeah, Hera in particular, since it was
and also, yeah, exactly. And both of you had put off Eastern for a really long time as well, too. I was curious about that.
Well, Hera was erased from my mind somehow. And then I
Fair enough.
did Thieves and did the Smith and Magic Bat. And then I looked at what I had left to do and like, wait, why am I not just doing Hera?
Yeah.
So
Hera
good answer.
Hera showing up that late is not super common when you think about it.
Yeah, so I regret doing Thieves first. Of course, I should have done Hera first, thinking back. But yeah, here we are. I think potentially I would have full cleared everything except pod before going into TR, because of how I routed and just because I didn't want to orphan things with the potential lead I had, and so on. But yeah, MC Shuffle. Go to your dungeons.
Well, go to your dungeons. Don't go to them too early, though.
Yeah,
Apparently.
I remember finding Samaria and thinking, that could be really good, and then forgot about it. So when you told me that was the thing, it's like, wow. That was so long
it's just
ago.
so early, right?
Yeah.
You know?
And I wasn't gonna go Agina, but then I had rupees, and it sort of pushed my mindset to, let's just do Agina first.
Are you one of those that when you grab the item to the left, you just keep going?
Because I almost had Sora money, and I wasn't entirely sure if I would water a fake flipper to Sora. It's like, Agina time. I don't think it's a long walk. It's a longer walk to Ice Sword Cave, so...
Yeah, but you've got Mini Moldrum on the way, so I think it feels a little less bad. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the general thing. Yeah, it's a coin toss in the mind, and here we are.
Yeah, I think in modes like Key Sandy, where you're going to be checking a lot more things, you need to be a lot more thorough. I tend to do that. But in modes like this, where there's you have to really try to cut more corners, I tend to just unless I get an early flute, I'm probably not going to be getting Agina until I absolutely have to. Just so often it ends up being nothing, and you spent a bunch of time walking over there. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it works out, and like in this case, not having that cane was absolutely the turning point. I'm actually really I kind of hopped into the channel while you guys were talking about it. We were fairly close getting the boots in the mirrors. Am I understanding that correctly?
It was close enough that small key mistake that Mike made would have made it into a race.
Okay.
Yeah, probably would have put you within 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes at the very end.
That is very surprising to me because I spent a lot of time. But I guess my early game I felt really good about.
It's just you were so bottlenecked by that boots location because it opened up the mirror to open up the hammer, and there wasn't that much left that that even Mike could do at the point that he got that mirror. So
I forgot to answer. Like the reason I didn't do Eastern was that I didn't have the full map knowledge until I picked up the desert map. So I didn't know, is it a pendant? Because I had one pendant left to find. Yeah, at that point I was like, I just found the boots in a very, very good spot for me, and I'm just gonna go get this item. And then I never checked shovel, so
that was the exact same reason I did it. I left it too.
Yeah.
Although
that actually makes a lot of sense.
I really, really wished I had not done it before Meyer, because I guess it was maybe fun for you guys to watch me fighter sword spin Vidi for 5 minutes.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, those Vidi fights were not ideal.
No. I was like, I started killing the eyeballs with the bow without even considering my ammo count. And then I looked up, I had 2. I was like, oh man, I've really messed this up. This is going to be way more difficult than it needs to be now. But yeah, I mean, by that point, it's like I was already feeling awful. So I was like, hey, might as well this ridiculous boss fight, put on a show.
All right. Okay, so what do you have to say to your teammates going into Game 5?
I hope you guys enjoy veterans.
Just my teammates put me in the backpack one more time. I swear my luck has been so bad. I haven't won a single solo race this entire season. So I trust them. They got us to this point.
No, that's a rough spot, man.
It is what it is. It's rando. I was in the Avianart tournament having the greatest luck ever, and meanwhile, over here, like I can't catch a break. But
don't let it get to you. Like we all know this could go either way.
No, yeah, I've been around long enough. I've seen this go my way. I've seen it go other people's way. Just put it in the hands of my teammates again. I trust them both. They're fantastic entrance players. So I have a lot of faith in them to get us over the line here. But it'll be a great race either way. It's going to be a fantastic watch.
All right. Good luck to both teams coming up on that. Anything else either one of you want to add before we close this out?
I'll just say thank you guys for the restream, for calming, tracking, and SpeedGaming for putting this on. And yeah, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's amazing. I love these things, and hope everyone enjoyed the race. I hope it was a good one to watch.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good luck again to your teammates in the next race, not scheduled yet. We do have an open race going on right now over on SpeedGaming 2. That is Amish Paradise versus Taunt the Frog. Looks like they're playing in Vrosia. I believe this is round 2, so that should be the unofficial game 3, but this is their first game of the series. Looks like there may be a couple other matches potentially on the schedule for open, but looks like they may or may not get channels. But we do have on this channel at 6 o'clock, we have WJP DTB versus Bottles on Empty. That'll be this same mode, open hard map compass shuffle. That'll be in the name of DT versus Ninjembro. That'll be right here on this channel. And if Ninjembro wins that one, there will be a race at 10 o'clock between those two teams. That will be the Retrance Game 5. That would be JP and Willard versus Maniacal Maximum Barnage. No channel for that yet because we don't know if it's going to happen yet. But keep an eye on the schedule to see where everything lands in terms of channels. I would highly suspect that race gets a channel if it does happen. But yeah, pretty much gonna do it for us. Beer, get to do another commentary together. That was absolutely a blast. Glad we got to do it.
Yeah, totally.
Was very happy to see your name on the schedule with me.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for jumping on this one too, and always have a great time when you're on comps.
Absolutely. And we had Evelyn on the tracking. The trackers always are MVPs. Can't do it without them. So big shout outs to Evelyn. And yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it for us. Head on over to SpeedGaming 2, watch the end of that open match, and then we'll see you all at 6 o'clock for the next race.